Hey, hello! The game in this video will actually release in exactly a week from now, so if you're watching this after that, check the link for a free download in the description. Alright, let's jam. So, it's been a while since I last uploaded, which means I've been working very hard on new additions to my game Incaved.
No.
Incaved has kind of just been doing its own thing. I'm not really in control of whatever is happening over here. So then, what have I been doing?
Oh! Welcome, dude!
Dual wielded! Thanks for the 50, bro. What the?
Those are all fake. So for a long time I've been wanting to make a short little game. I've never actually released a game before, and with my main project probably not coming out for another decade, I had to change it up. New, short project that I can release in its own little devlog series. The idea is that the game will serve as a small version of the main game, not the exact same genre, but somewhat of a similar gameplay loop. I ended up making the game into an endless runner, a game where you run endlessly, because thinking about it, that's in a lot of ways very similar to the main thing. Incaved is a roguelite. It's a game with random level generation, permadeath, random power-ups or items, and endless runners have random level generation, permadeath, and in some occasions random power-ups. So what if we roguelikeify the endless runner genre even more and turn it into something truly special? I don't want you guys to be looking at a white square for half of this video, so I figured I'd start with the main character's visuals. My idea is that the character in this game is a side character in the main game. I drew a concept sketch, and after that drew a concept sketch of the character. I thought the combination of gas mask and hood looks very cool. The character uses a belt with pouches rather than a large backpack like gas mask guy, which fits well with the whole theme of the character being nimble and all. Preferring to travel light and not having the luggage hinder in any way. Boom! We're running, baby! I wanted the game's graphics to be slightly more simplistic than Incaved's graphics, which would allow me to use frame-by-frame animation rather than joint animation. Frame-by-frame takes a lot more time, but also looks a lot better in my opinion. So limiting the character's graphics compared to Gas Mask Guy would make it a lot easier to animate it frame by frame. In the main game, the character will have a normal height, by the way. Now for this game, the player will have 4 moves, which is quite a lot for an endless runner, but that's exactly why. I don't want the game to be too casual, which usually ends up being the case for endless runners. That said, you cannot just give the player a bunch of extra moves and that's it. That will make the game too hard to understand and just boring to learn. Now I think I did a decent job at separating the moves, making it feel natural and everything, and yeah, let me show you. So the character can first of all jump, obviously done to jump over obstacles. Now another move is the dodge roll, which gives the player iframes or invincibility frames, allowing to phase through certain obstacles. And the final 2 moves are based on these sick, deadly weapons. Go! Tell you what, I'm strapped with the gas mask sign to take on the stats, going right fast. Got my morning star, smack them right back, then blast them hard, I'm in my zone, my habitat. Styling on them, the acrobat, slow motion, shoot them through the head. Dual wield the tools, always hit that, looking cool with it.
Crisp Pratt.
I ain't done this isn't for well, check out my Spotify, check out... yeah, you can shoot as well. Now I figured splitting the screen in 2 for the player would be the best way to approach this control scheme for the game. Here you go, man. I prefer playing like this.
What the heck, bro? That's my phone, man. You can't just do that, bro.
The screen is split into 2, where movement-based controls are done on the left side and action controls are on the right side, similar to how a game controller would usually act. By swiping up on the left side of the screen, the character performs a jump, while swiping down makes you dodge roll. Tapping the right side of the screen makes you swing your morning star, while holding your finger on the right side allows you to aim your gun. Releasing your finger after holding it makes you shoot your gun. This aiming bit is in slow motion, which looks... well, after making sure the frame rate adapts to the slow motion, I added a vignette and some chromatic aberration, building up until you release fire or the aim time is over. Because I'm not gonna allow you to play through the game like this. Alright, you're not supposed to do this. Now that the player's moves and controls are established, I need to test if they work well. And the university I attend gave me the perfect opportunity. In 4 weeks from now, a bunch of middle school students will come over as part of some... where one of the attractions would be testing games from game design students. All I needed was level generation and, well, obstacles would be nice. I approached level generation in a very simple manner. There's a bunch of level chunks, each containing one or multiple obstacles in a unique way. These level chunks are placed one after another in a random order in front of the player outside the game's camera view, making it look like an endless cave system in the actual game. These level chunks are later destroyed when they're not needed anymore, making sure the game doesn't have a bunch of unnecessary stuff to handle. In the game, however, the character constantly speeds up, making the game feel more and more intense as you proceed. The level parts change depending on your speed, adding a second way of making the game more intense while keeping things fair. But what obstacles am I putting in the game? Well, first of all, we have the spikes, baby! Spikes can be jumped over, obviously, however you can also use the iframes in your dodge roll to dodge through them. Sometimes all you can do is jump over them, sometimes all you can do is dive through. But a lot of times you can choose whatever fits the situation best. And then there are the boulder piles, baby, which you have to smash through. These are generally too tall to jump over, so the only way to get through them is to destroy them. Then there are these stalactites that drop down in front of you. You can just jump over them after they landed, or you can shoot them to leave them out of the equation, so you can focus on whatever obstacle hits you next. I decided that shooting would have a reload time, meaning that shooting should never be the only way to save yourself from getting hit. You do not want to throw a shoot this or you die obstacle at them, as they're reloading from a previous obstacle.
Oh, what am I to do? I can't stop running and I have to shoot that thing or else I'll die, but I'm still reloading. Oh, shoot.
So that's why you could still jump over these in case you didn't manage to shoot them. Then there are the acidic pools, which act like lava in 3D Mario games, making you go when you hit them. And that's not even a Mario sound effect, that was me. Now you obviously cannot forget about the bat, similar to the ones in Incaved. However, these are still able to fly. The mutation hasn't taken over enough of their body yet. These bats shoot acidic projectiles at you, which you have to dodge by jumping, or with a well-timed roll. But it gets pretty difficult having to dodge these projectiles while dodging everything else that's on your path, so you can shoot the bats in order to get rid of them. 3 strikes, and they're out. Walls. Avoid walls, jump over them, don't jump into them. It's as simple as that, really. Now, a big thing in a bunch of roguelikes is giving the player a choice in the path they follow. With all the random generation that's going on, items, rooms, whatever, you don't want the player to rely only on skill when it comes to all of this. You also want the player to learn about how the game works and make choices this way. Which one of these items do I pick? Which one benefits my playstyle or even my current item build the most? I'm just picking an item, there we go, getting this one. What? Really? Like 40 minutes for this clip?
You should keep it.
Oh, God.
That's it.
Now, do I go through this normal door? This one. This one says companions. And it has a funny drawing of a little frog guy. No, I think I'll go through the door that says ambush, actually. So at some point, the player will be able to pick their path as well. There will be a sign pointing in the 2 directions, warning you for what's to come. You can then choose what path to take, which would in most occasions just be the path containing the obstacle you think easiest to overcome. However, as you keep speeding up, these decisions have to be made faster and faster. I also want to add a little sign later on, which will tell the player that, yeah, this path might be more difficult, but there will be a healing pickup at the end of it. I'm just saying, you messed up. Wake up, samurai, the playtest day is tomorrow! Alright. All I had to do was make a bunch of level parts. I already finished making the tutorial in which the player has to overcome each obstacle once. If they fail, the obstacle is repeated until they make it. At no point does the game force the player to pause or read, and it flows very nicely into the actual game, so I think it's a pretty good tutorial. Never pause the game and make your player read stuff, alright? That's horrible. It takes your player out of the game, and they probably won't even read it most of the time, so they'll miss out on that information.
Jump if you wish to jump.
Instead, the tutorial should be integrated in the game itself, which I think I did a pretty good job on. And that's it. Now I think I'm ready for those pesky middle schoolers. And there I was, school. Many students had these big, crazy setups that would bring in more middle schoolers to test their game and also enhanced the experience of testing by a lot. Meanwhile, all the preparation I did was... well, I brought my phone. Anyways, I sat down and waited. Until half an hour later, when the middle schoolers arrived. All of them ran to the big screens immediately, of course, while I was just chilling in my corner.
Hey, can I try again?
So, are the controls understandable?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. I saw you took some damage there. Was that because the game was too punishing, or was that...
No, it was just the sun. You know, like, I couldn't see very well. because
You
of-
said you have a son? The playtest day was a complete success, baby! My game made sense, the controls felt good. The tutorial did its job well and wasn't annoying at all, though I got some feedback on visualizing some things like adding a marker showing you have to shoot the stalactite in order to proceed. The game was a little hard early on, so I will look into that later as well. But yeah, I'd say that went really well. Now there's still much more left I'm adding to this game. It's really only halfway there. So I'll upload part 2 next week. In the meantime, join the Discord and follow me on Twitch. I'll start streaming game development there soon. Peace!